Hi there, my name's Tom from Bikes Palya, and today we're going to go through putting together this brand new bike. We've just unboxed it and we've got all the parts out on the table. This is come assembled. We've got some various bits and pieces here, some pedals, some brakes, tyre, brand new pump, and we've got some tools, and we've also got the manual. So we're just going to follow what's happening in the manual today, and you can always refer to that too, but you have a nice video to use as well. So we've got some tools, we've got some Allen keys, we've got a 17mm, a 15mm, and a 10mm spanner. First thing we're going to do today is put this handlebar on, okay? So if you come over and have a look at the headstock, we're going to loosen these 4 bolts and put the handlebars on. This is the first step in the manual to assemble the bike. Alright, we'll take them all off. Just make sure your brake cable's in front. Line it up, and you can put this back on. So in here, just double check your gaps here between the top of the headstock and the bottom. It's a nice even gap. Just start with them loose and then work your way through. Alright, just before you tighten them, line him up. You want this bar here sort of on the same angle as this bar here. This way. So I'll go from here to here. Come back over to this one, and then finally that one. Now you want these nice and firm, so your handlebars aren't going to move around. So here you can see on the bike that this bar here is nice and in line with my fork. Okay, so step number 2 is we're going to put the seat post in. Okay. So, if you come and have a close look at the seat post, you can see here, if you can focus in, you can see these lines here on the post. Now we want to have them covered. We don't want to be able to see them, okay? So they're going to sit down inside like that, okay? And if you just cover them, that's a good height. All right. Now, for this job, I've got a 5mm Allen key. Got a bit of grease, don't have any, and a rag, okay? So this will stop the seat rusting inside the post. So just grab a bit of grease on your finger and just twirl it inside there. There you go. I'm going to slide our seat post in. Just get him down, have a look, line him up, and we can tighten him up. Okay, it's very simple. Now, don't need to go too hard, but just nice and firm. And that's good. Okay. If you don't get it tight enough and you're sitting on the bike and it slides down, you might have to re-tighten. That's step number 2. Okay, we're up to step number 3, and we're going to put some pedals on. Okay, so you just need to check there's a pedal for each side of the bike. So we're going to start with the right hand pedal. You can check this by having a look here, and you can see it has an R on it, R for right. So if you come over, chuck him on the bike, grab a bit of grease, and we'll put it on the thread. just a little bit, and this will stop the pedal rusting inside. Okay, now we just line it up, and this one is just a normal thread, and we'll go in to the right. Alright. Once you've got it started, get your spanner on, 15mm, and give it a tweak. Alright. Now you can get it nice and firm. Awesome. That's the right side done. We're going to do exactly the same with the left side, but the left side will spin the other way. Okay, so I've got him in there. It can take a little bit to line him up, but once you've got it started, on this side it's left to right. Alright. Awesome, get it nice and firm, and that's the left side done. Okay, now we're going to put the front tyre on, and it's starting to look like a bike. Okay, so we've just flipped the bike upside down and we've got a nice stable surface. Alright, now I'm just going to grab my bike and I'm going to chuck him on. You can see these, if you have a close look, you can see these washers here. They will need to sit on the outside, and there's a groove that will fit through that hole. Alright, and then it sits right down inside the groove, and these washers will go in. So we'll just tighten it with our hand. Line up the washer so it's nice and flat against the nut. Same on the other side. Just prop the washer up so you get a nice even surface. Hand tighten as much as you can. Grab your 15mm spanner and give it a tweak. Okay, get it nice and firm. And there you have it. Got your wheel on. Got the bike out of the box, and we can see that this chain's very tight. So we're just going to loosen off. Just check that they might come differently, but ours is very tight, so we're going to loosen that off. To do that, just going to loosen these one side to start with. And we'll just, yeah, and I could just feel it then move. So just pedal it and try it, and that's much better. Okay, just a little bit of play in the chain. And tighten them back up. Just also make sure your wheel's nice and lined up in the centre. But yeah, we've tweaked it nice and tight, and our tyres dead centre, and our chain's at a good tension. Yes, check in. that step done. Check the tyres, and we need to give them a bit of air. Okay, so if you come and have a look at the pump, we've got 2 holes. We're going to use this hole here. Now you put it on, and you keep this shaft down, and then once you've got the valve in, that's locked on. Okay, so we're going to pump these up to around 40 psi. You can check our video on putting slime in and lining these with another old tyre, and that'll save you a lot of time with fixing punctures, especially out in the communities, because there's a lot of prickles. Loosen the cap. Chuck him on. Lock it on. And he's locked on. And we'll just give it some air. And I've got it up about 40 psi. And that's feeling good. Okay. Take him off. Put our cap back on. And you can do the same for the front wheel. Awesome.
Filming.
Okay, so we're going to have a look at the braking system, and the rear brake's already on. So we're just going to have a look and see how that's working and make sure everything's in good working order. Alright, so we've got 2 brake pads here. And we'll just give the wheel a spin, make sure they're not touching the rim. And that's looking good. And you can see these are nice and lined up with the rim of the bike. Perfect. Okay, so we'll just come up here to the lever. And we can see the lever here, and that feels pretty good. Okay, so if we want to adjust that, there's 2 points we can adjust. We can adjust here, spinning him out, and using the lock nut to lock it in, and that will give you make it a bit tighter. Okay, so we can get him right out and lock him in place. All right, so that's a little bit tighter, and also here. Okay, and if you want to adjust there and get it a little bit tighter, you can use your 10mm spanner. All right. Just loosen him off. Yes, pull him out a bit, and then this is like a locking nut there. All right, and that's just a little bit tighter, but it's all working great. Okay, so the last thing to check with the headstock is these 2 nuts on the side. Okay. So we just want to make sure they're nice and tight. Also checking that our fork and our handlebars, headset, it's all nice and straight. Awesome, nice and tight. Okay, so we've assembled the bike. We haven't put on the front brake. It does have a front brake that comes with the kit, and you can assemble that, but it's a little bit more tricky, and we'd recommend you do that if you've got a bit of experience. And it's not legally necessary, and you've got the rear brake, and that should be fine. Last thing you want to do, check over all your nuts and bolts on the bike. So if you come in close, we can show you some of these. So we've got a few nuts here on the pedals. Check them, and if you go around, you'll see a few, and just check that all your nuts and bolts are nice and tight. And the last thing to do, give it a test, have a ride. Awesome.